Dankeschön, dass ihr alle noch da geblieben sind für das Q&A jetzt. Wie gesagt vorher, ich fange erstmal mit ein paar Fragen an, aber falls Sie zwischendrin irgendwas fragen wollen oder so, können Sie sich jederzeit melden und dann, genau, machen wir das einfach rein. Thank you again, Marwa, for this beautiful documentary. I know the story how you came about to do this documentary was a little bit different. It didn't start out to you wanting to do a feature film about the Sudanese soccer team or football team. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, thank you all for being here, for watching the movie till the end. Thanks again, Ines, Lenny. The movie initially was to do a short film, like 5-minute documentary film about the women footballers in Sudan. I was in Egypt at that time. So they told me, we don't have money, but it's very, we think you are the right person to make this film, and come, we cover everything for a week. And then I spent the last, I think, 5 years doing the movie about them, because it's extremely difficult to survive as a woman in the first place. Then when you are an African woman, there is a double struggle. And there is another struggle if you are really stubborn and want to do something with your life. So when you combine the three of them, you find it's really difficult and things would take time. But I felt I am the right person to make this film. So I thought I would do it. I would continue. I would search. So 1 week was extended to 3 months. And then a year, and then 5 years.
When was the moment where you realized, okay, there's more to the story, I want to do a bigger project with it?
I think there was a moment when I figured out that my film is not about football, and my film is about resistance. So about resistance and about believing that you are capable of doing what you think you deserve. So because I fought to be a film director, and I fought to move from engineering to study cinema, so I felt it's a personal film as well. It's a documentary, definitely, and it's about the girls, definitely. But the behind the story is I felt that we share something beyond the football. And yeah, that was the beginning.
How did you approach the storytelling of the film? Like, how did you, because as you said, it's more, there's more behind the story. So it seems like in the beginning, it's a story about a group of women who want to be who want to compete as a national soccer team for Sudan, and then you go deeper into it. I studied fiction filmmaking, so I studied the cinema in Egypt, and I come from this fiction background, so I always had the need to control the movie. And every time I tried to do so, I was failing big time. So I had many kind of ways how to do the films, but I think I learned to be flexible and to try to adapt to what's going on, because I had to shoot the film by myself. I couldn't have a crew because shooting was not really allowed. So I was shooting and running all the time. So I couldn't really have the privilege of planning or doing a storyboard, or it was not like that at all. We got caught many times while shooting, me and the girls. And it was a big risk, so I needed to have a small camera, small equipment, and equipment that I could control by myself, and also bring me to a cinema. Because also I was very ambitious that I want to make a movie that would go to the whole world, wouldn't be like a small project or something. So it's at some sequences I really dreamed about them and I thought about them, but other sequences was really spontaneous, and coming out of the moment. So I just learned to follow my intuition. Like if I needed to sit with this girl more, then I would do that. And if I want just to stare at the ceiling, I would do that. So it was intuitive as much as possible, as I could.
It's like there's a saying, documentaries are made in the editing room, so there's a lot, because you can't control the story, that's most of the time thing. How many times, so you said you did the documentary over a time span of 5 years. How often did you go back, and was it because of funding, or, how did you decide when you come back, when you're going to film?
So the journey started by end of 2014, but because also there is no film grants or in Sudan, so there is no support in the culture aspect at all. So I needed to find an international family that would support my film without interfering in the content in a way that wouldn't go hand in hand with my point of views, which was really difficult as well. So it took a lot of time to try to have a co-production. So I think the co-production took around 2.5 years. And also with the situation in Sudan, because at some point the girls actually lost their enthusiasm, because they thought the movie would go out very soon and would support them like a year after. So when they kept witnessing me coming back and forth, getting arrested with them, they said like, maybe it's not the right idea. So they were also questioning the movie and what I'm doing and all of that. So I think it was back and forth for 3 years and 2 years for the co-production.
There's right now there's a group of Sudanese artists and filmmakers who were imprisoned, and then some of them already came out. And you already talked about your struggles during the filmmaking. Can you tell us a little bit more about like what kind of struggles you had, and why, and how the situation is right now?
Luckily, gladly, after the fall of the regime of Omar al-Bashir, there is a transitional government, and the movie thankfully had a great success after Berlinale. So there was like a good pressure over the Federation of Football in Sudan. So finally, I think last September, like almost a year from now, they started officially the League of the Women Footballers in Sudan. So officially there is a league, but not yet national team. So it's very slow. We hope for more, but it's also the situation is really unstable at all. So, but at least there is kind of recognition, kind of like, okay, we see you now. We are not turning like a blind eye. So.
And there's also a new sports minister, right? Her name is Wala Essam, so she's also like, it's not always the same one
exactly,
like they were complaining
yes.
before, so there are new people coming into the government.
Yes.
Who can like change things.
Yes, now at least another name. We hope with another personality, another character.
Did you have the opportunity to screen your film in Sudan or in any other African country?
Actually, that's how I've been locked in Sudan for 5 months with the corona situation. So I went to Sudan in January to screen the film there for the first time. And for me, that was a big part of the work on the movie, that I want to screen the film in Sudan, not only in the capital, but I want to travel in different kind of cities, in the west, the south. I want to travel the whole, this big Sudan. So I did 5 screenings, and I was looking for more, but then Corona came by March, and then I was locked till July. But yeah, it was my plan to really to tell the people in Sudan that it's possible. It's it's not really tough. Even we don't have really proper cinemas or something, but still, I did screenings like very primitive ones, and I didn't care because for me it was most important for the people to, in the outskirts, to come and see themselves in the movie, and like they say like, yes, this is us. And so hopefully after the situation gets better, I continue the plan.
How was the feedback from the audience in Sudan?
I felt it's worth it. I felt it's, yes, this is what I was aiming for, that people realize that dreams are not really dreams, and like, if you really believe in yourself, you can, and friendship is important. We are not less than any man. We don't need laws and Sharia laws anymore. Like it's no, it was really, and actually I didn't expect that kind of openness from the people. So I was afraid from like part of the film could be a bit controversial from a religious point of view or something, but they were really like open and like, yeah, it's fine. Like even all people, even like it was accepted, it was embraced, and that's really warmed my heart.
Under the old Prime Minister Umar al-Bashir, there was still Sharia law, which was in practice, but there's like this big divide between the government and the people in power and what Sharia law means for the population. And I think in the movie you could see that for the people there was like a different meaning. So could you touch maybe on that more, how you put that into the film?
It was very important to touch that, yes, officially the government is under the Sharia law, the strict Islamist law. But the community, the society, how it works, it's definitely, we have to, like, underground life. So people would do everything but aside, and pretending hypocrisy, kind of life. But in the movie, as you watched, many parents, many fathers supported the girls playing football. Many men in the streets were like cheering for women. It was no problem. Many actually families knows that their girls, their young women have relationship with other women, and they like accepting it but not really confronting it. So we have this kind, I don't know if there is a translation of it, but we do accept things but not to face it, not to talk about it. So in Sudan, there is this underground kind of life that goes parallel to the strict laws. Definitely, there are people who are very conservative, but in this movie, within the families of the girls, we didn't have this kind of problem.
Mm-hmm. As you could see in the end, in the credits, there was like a picture of a protest in the 60s or 70s, where there were a lot of women in the forefront. Also, at this protest last year in spring 2019, women were one of the driving forces of the demonstrations, and they're also of the overthrow of Umar al-Bashir, and they're part of the newer government. And I think, as you can see in the movie as well, like the role of women, they're trying to change it themselves, and some do it through sports and others do it through other demonstrations. So do you think it was like their way to show like we're more than just like what you put us through? It was their way, like football or soccer was their way out of the strict conditions of life?
Definitely, especially in Sudan and this part of Africa, East Africa. We used as women to be the queens, to be the rulers, the pharaonic queens are like women, and the societies, our primitive societies, are used to be ruled by women. So it's very weird how religion, how the world changed, how life suddenly forced women to just sit aside and like do nothing, be nothing, say nothing. So I'm happy that the revolution and the new era, let's say, even if it's not pushing women that not really accepting, not really being silenced, and to take their power back, and to keep resisting, because I think it's resistance is not a phase. It's you would be resisting, if not for you, then for your sister, not for your sister, for your neighbor. It would be like an ice ball. So I believe it was great that Sudanese women took some attention, but I think they have been doing this for so long. But the attention, the media and the spotlight is sometimes it's current thing, but it's in the reality, no, it has been like that for a long time, but for political, economical, for many reasons, they have been really, they were not in the front pages of the news or in the TV.
Does anyone have questions already? Otherwise, okay. You're also working at the Sudanese Independent Film Festival. Can you tell us like a little bit more about your work there and how the festival works? Because at the documentary film festival last year we had a film. It was called "Talking About Trees," about four Sudanese filmmakers who were trying to open a cinema in Khartoum, and like their struggles in trying to screen movies, trying to screen their own movies, and kind of like you can see here, they were sent from one point to another, and they were like, write this, do this, and in the end they couldn't open the cinema. So like having a film festival in Khartoum, I guess, is not as easy as here.
Yeah, it's I worked as a programmer for I think 4 years, and it was a kind of game with the censorship, like what kind of film, why this movie, no, cut this scene. And for us, because all of us were film directors, so we like cut what scene, no scene would be cut. So it was like kind of a game how to get the movies through the censorship. But then it was very important for the other filmmakers to watch films from all over the world. And me and Suhaib, the director of Talking About Trees, and we are not many film directors from Sudan, so we feel like we are privileged enough that we are traveling and we see films from all over the place, so we think it's part of paying back that we select the movies and to try to screen them in Sudan. It's definitely not easy as everything, but again, it's worth it, because you see other young artists, filmmakers, they are there inside Sudan, have no chance to travel, have no chance to watch movies as anyone in the other countries. So it's important. It's even if it's a small festival, but it's good.
Your documentary is also on AfriDocs, which is like an African documentary platform where you can kind of like Netflix for African documentaries.
You can say so.
But it's only like a shorter version of the film.
Yeah.
Why the shorter version?
Economical reasons, because I wish to, because I've invested much time over this movie, so I'm trying to get the best deal with how to sell the movie. So it was just economical negotiation. So we have two versions of the film, the 52 version and the 75. So I didn't want to lose the opportunity to have my film for the African continent. But from the other hand, they didn't pay the amount that we usually ask for, so we said, okay, maybe we give them the shorter version that I edited as well. So it's under my supervision. So it's a film that I really am proud of as well. But yeah. That's the main reason, no other reason.
What did the young ladies say when they saw the film?
The young lady?
Yeah, the girls?
The soccer.
The whole, okay. Because there is a really little girl, she didn't watch the film yet. That's why I was like, she didn't. But the other girls, they were really happy. Actually, 2 of them was with me in CPH Docs in Denmark last year. So they watched the premiere there. And then they were all with me in Sudan while the other screenings there. They were happy, their families were happy, and I was very proud that they are. They loved it by the end. This long journey, they didn't know when it's finished. Yeah, but it was really good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
One question. This film is about Sudan team and not the South Sudan, or is it all together, or how is it now, the situation between the South and North and 2 states, and are there 2 teams or none of them, or?
It's very complicated, I can understand. Well, the captain of the team is from the South and the North, yeah? So, South Sudan is a new country since 2011. So since 2011, we are 2 countries. So South Sudan has a team, but also not really official, and North of Sudan trying to have a team. So between us as the people, we don't have really problem, but you need a visa to, if you are a Northern Sudanese, want to go to the South Sudan. So it's a new country. But with the football situation, I think whole Sudan, South and North, are not in a stable situation at all for everything, and definitely for sports. So I don't know if I answered your question.
I mean, would it help to have one team for both, or is it impossible?
It's a new country since 2011, so it's it's not possible
so
anymore.
It's getting even worse then.
Yeah, because since we have been under the English colonization, this separation was planned already. So and we didn't do anything to prevent this from happening. So it's a new country, and it's now almost 10 years. So they are really, and also we had one of the longest civil wars in the history of Africa, the North and the South. So also it's extremely complicated to get them.
Like South and North Korea? Can you compare it with this or not?
I am not sure. I have actually no idea.
And I think also like the FIFA Federation, they don't allow 2 countries to make one team together. So South Sudan is officially recognized as their own country now. So I think, like, if a South Sudanese player plays for North Sudan, that's fine. But I don't think they would, even if they wanted to, could compete together.
Yeah, but one of the girls, she had problems with her permission to stay, so she had to do this blood test.
Yeah, maybe that's even. There could be a possible problem in the future as well. So I think because there are also FIFA regulations that you can only compete in the country where you have the nationality from. So, for example, if you're South Sudanese, could you even compete for the Sudanese team? But since they're not even there yet to be officially like nominated, I think they're not worrying about that right now. Are you working on any? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
One always, when one likes a film, one always wants to know whether you are working on a new project.
I'm glad that you like the film. So this is very, thank you. I hope it's easy, but it's not. So now I'm focusing on my master's. I'm finishing my studies in Cologne, in Academy Kunsthochschule für Medien. Yeah. So I'm trying to just focus now on the studies, but hopefully would be working on the next movie soon. But it's not really ready now. Thanks for asking. Hopefully I would come here again with the next movie.
Yeah.
As filmmaking is so complicated in Sudan and not even allowed, where do you get the courage from to do it?
Where do you get the courage from doing filmmaking if it's like so illegal and not allowed in Sudan? Where do you get the courage?
Okay. To be honest, I wasn't I didn't have the courage all the time. I was afraid. So I was scared. So I didn't mean at all that I was like fearless or something. At some point I was crying. At some point I was like hopeless. Sometimes I was depressed. So I had the strength to continue because I thought it's a fight that would speak not only about me but about many people who hasn't the chance to be filmmakers, for example. But I wasn't all the time courageous, and I think a part of it that was I don't want to quit. I am not a person who could quit easily, so I'm very stubborn, I think. But courage wasn't easy, and because I was really scared, because even my family was not in Sudan, so my family was in Egypt. It was at some point I was questioning actually why, and like it could be easy, but I also used to fight for what I want from an early age. Being raised in Saudi Arabia and being raised in also like with a strict father, I felt like this is a continuation of the struggle. You know, this is just let's continue. So it was just like that. I'm familiar of this kind of fights, but I'm not really courageous all the time. I have my moments. Thank you.
Were you aware when you were doing the film that during the 2019 Women Football World Championship that it would be like such a big topic, like the FIFA would be criticized so much, the American team, they kind of sued the FIFA for sexual discrimination, and that also there's like, I think in Libya, the national team, there's also a film about them, that your film would like fit into this conversation, or was it coincidental kind of?
Actually, it was definitely coincidental because I was waiting for the federation for the elections in Sudan, because I stopped shooting and I was waiting. Okay, what will happen next? Because nothing was happening for the team, nothing was happening with the girls, and I was like keeping shooting with no with nothing would help the drama of the film. So I was waiting for the elections. And while waiting for the elections, my co-producer told me, you know, Marwa, there is the FIFA, we're doing next year, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, very good for the FIFA, but for Sudan, for my movie, nothing is happening, so how could I use this? And then it just happens that I finished the shooting, and I knew that nothing more to shoot in Sudan by November. And then actually the revolution started in Sudan, so I was like, okay, thanks God, I'm outside of Sudan. And then the World Cup. I wished that the FIFA would be more concerned or interested on the situation of Sudan. Sadly, unfortunately, they were not. But I wasn't actually expecting much as well, because I knew it's extremely political. I know that they know about what's happening in Sudan. I knew that they know that the money they sent to the Federation of Football doesn't reach the girls at all. So I know the game, all of it. So I was not really expecting much of any of that. But my co-producer was saying, maybe we can use that in the marketing of the movie. Maybe we can, but it didn't actually.
Okay, one last question for me. As you said, like at the end of last year, I think in autumn, the first Sudan Women's League started. Is the team that you filmed also playing in the league? And do you know how they're doing right now?
Yes, I'm really proud that they made 2 teams. This team made 2 teams, and one of them won the league. So that was like, really, yeah. And, so, yes. And I hope because as a football players, you have an age, so you shouldn't be very old to keep. I hope they will make it soon to the national team. Yes.
Thank you so much. If anyone has any more questions, otherwise, thank you very much for this.
Thank you.